So for the last few FGC videos, I focused on the competitive side of things, and I feel we've overlooked probably the most important part, the part that brings in new fans and new players, and that's the casual players. And when it comes to casual players, we gotta look at the biggest fighting game in the world, Mortal Kombat. It was just announced this past June that Mortal Kombat 11 is the best-selling game of the year, and it's actually beating out Kingdom Hearts 3, which is crazy considering how long that game's been anticipated, and it has the backing of Lord Disney. I couldn't find any hard sales numbers, but I could find digital sales for Mortal Kombat 11, and in just 2 months, it's already sold 1.8 million digital copies. That's already half of Tekken 7's lifetime sales after 2 years. So even with those crazy sales and huge amount of players, Mortal Kombat hasn't really dominated the FGC circuit. It's definitely made a big splash, but it isn't pulling the amount of entrants that say Smash Ultimate has. So let's take a look at what Mortal Kombat eSports has to offer, what the casual community is up to, and let's think about some ways that we can bring that huge audience into the FGC. Despite being one of the oldest fighting game franchises, Mortal Kombat eSports is a fairly recent development. Starting with Mortal Kombat 9, official leagues and tournaments were actually done with partners like ESL, E-League, and PDP. But with Mortal Kombat 11, Warner Bros. Actually brought their esports operations in-house. However, despite that short period of time, Mortal Kombat has offered some of the biggest prize pools for the FGC. Just take a look at Sonic Fox, the king of NetherRealm games, and also the player with the highest lifetime earnings in the FGC. This year, Mortal Kombat has put together the Pro Competition League, which offers official qualifiers throughout the US and Europe. It also has international qualifiers throughout the world and online qualifiers as well. Mortal Kombat has also introduced what's known as the Online Combat League, which offers incentives for players to take on what's traditionally known in the FGC as the grind. However, I thought it was pretty funny looking at the YouTube comments that some people weren't too enthusiastic about having to do this to get skins and other items. So the money is there, the tournaments are there, and there's an incentive built into the game to get better at it. But what are the players up to? Having a good social media strategy is critical for promoting fighting game events these days, and Mortal Kombat is killing it in this aspect. Just look how it's performing on various social media platforms compared to the other fighting games. It even has a really robust Discord that has specific discussion topics for different characters and learning strategies and community stuff. Even on popular YouTube channels that are focused on fighting game content, Mortal Kombat tends to be the most viewed content on these channels, as we can see here with Maximilian and Spooky. But let's take a closer look at the kind of content that people are engaging with when it comes to Mortal Kombat. So if we take a look at Mortal Kombat social media, you can see that there's actually active promotion of different tournaments and events that are going on. But let's take a closer look at what actually gets engagement. So let's go here to Instagram. So here we have a few photos from Mortal Kombat's Instagram, and they're all from a tournament. But if we look closely, we can see which photo actually gets the most engagement, and it's a photo of the cosplayer. And this hasn't gone unnoticed by MK's marketing team. In fact, if you look at the official Mortal Kombat site, there's this huge section for MK Collective, and this showcases all the ambassadors or artists that they partner with to do Mortal Kombat related cosplay, sculptures, or art, and even a big crazy activation at Tomorrowland for that special moment when the Molly hits, and then there's a Sub-Zero light show. So if we look at Mortal Kombat's YouTube, you can see that tournament footage is far from the most popular footage on the channel. In fact, things like cosplay or character reveal videos or little character story segments or even clips from the old movie are far more popular. And even if we go back to Maximilian's videos, you can see that the popular Mortal Kombat videos are actually where he's trying to see what the best finisher is or ranking fatalities. And this reflects a larger trend on YouTube where compilations of all the fatalities, brutalities, babalities, all kinds of fatalities dominating the views. Now the other type of content that dominates the views is why I think Mortal Kombat has captured such a huge amount of the casual audience. So I always felt it was weird how much people love and connect to specific fighting game characters because a lot of times their backgrounds and their stories are left in the manual. Now one of the things I loved about Tekken 3 so much was all the movies that you would see after you beat arcade mode. And story modes are still very not well developed in fighting games, and they're usually pretty short. And after you're done with that, all you're left to do is play in training mode or play online. but this is very much not the case with Mortal Kombat. So the Mortal Kombat team has been developing single-player experiences since 1997 with the MK Mythologies Sub-Zero spinoff. And then with Deadly Alliance, the main game series was actually introduced to its own story mode with Conquest mode. And then MK vs. DC introduced this whole storyline perspective where it hops between different characters. However, Mortal Kombat 9 really captured lightning in a bottle. Perhaps due to Midway's acquisition by Warner Brothers, Mortal Kombat 9's story mode featured high production values, really well done voice acting, and it tapped into fans' nostalgia by revisiting events that happened in the first 3 games. And Mortal Kombat 11 has continued to evolve the single-player experience. There's still the well-done story mode, but then there's also the Crypt, which gives fans the chance to unlock different things like brutalities, but also taps into the series' history and nostalgia. And then there's the Tower of Time mode, which again is more unlockables, but fans have criticized this as maybe requiring too much of their time and being too much of a grind. So to examine the effect of including more single-player modes, let's take a look at the Steam player stats for the different fighting games on Steam. That's Mortal Kombat, Tekken, and Street Fighter V. So Mortal Kombat has had the highest amount of players online at the same time on PC, but it has far less owners than Street Fighter or Tekken. Now currently, all 3 games have around the same amount of average players still online, but if you look at the average playtime, Mortal Kombat has a far higher average playtime than Street Fighter or Tekken. So what I can gather from this is that Mortal Kombat players spend more time with the game because there's more stuff for them to do at their pace. They're not basically shuttled into online and have to immediately do that steep learning curve of getting good at fighting games. And I think this gives them a better experience and they get more bang for their buck, which means they become repeat customers, spread good word of mouth, and that's why you see these massive sales. In fact, what I would like to see for the future is I would like to see Mortal Kombat release a DLC that actually expands the story mode and see how this boost player numbers in comparison to just releasing some new characters into the roster. So the reason why I keep going on and on about story mode is I believe that lore is really important to building a dedicated fan base. I mean, there's so many websites and videos dedicated to exploring the Mortal Kombat timeline and storyline. And even if you look at the videos that Mortal Kombat posts on social media about their characters, it's more focused on like the personality of the character rather than showing you combos or strategies. And I think the biggest indicator of, the cultural importance of Mortal Kombat is now there's another major motion picture being developed, and it's being produced by James Wan of Aquaman and Saw. So now we have an idea of why so many casual fans enjoy playing Mortal Kombat, but the question does come up, how do we get these people into the FGC? So I thought about an event from years ago called VXG. So VXG is an infamous event. It was held in the Caribbean and it was meant to become like the event after EVO. Now VXG ended up becoming an event infamous for all its broken promises, but one broken promise in particular I think was very interesting. So one of the promotional efforts for VXG was that for the first 200 people to pre-register, they were actually going to get to participate in a recreation of the dinner scene from the first Mortal Kombat movie. And they were even going to fly out, supposedly, Mr. Shang Tsung himself, Cary Tagawa. Oh man, the early days of FGC sports. So naive, yet so ahead of the curve. I mean, we had our own Fire Fest years before everyone else. So the reason why I bring this up is I feel like some kind of spectacle is needed to bring out the casual audience to MK tournaments. So maybe find some famous cosplayers and have them dress up as MK characters and then hold cosplay competitions. Find different artists to build Mortal Kombat based installations or sell Mortal Kombat based art at your event. Collaborate with famous streamers and content creators and have them do some show matches. Maybe have a night that there's a pub quiz and everyone can join and it's all based on Mortal Kombat trivia. So I know, I can already hear the hardcore crowd complaining about bringing in people and paying them and they're not even playing fighting games. But the truth is that the FGC needs to find ways to generate income and not just for top players and production staff. All the bracket runners and labor at a tournament shouldn't be on a volunteer basis. Water shouldn't be a luxury. And every event shouldn't possibly be the last for the TO because if something goes wrong, it can all just fall to pieces. So this past EVO, I actually brought out one of my old friends from high school to help me with the live stream production. And he's played fighting games in the past, but he's never heard of EVO, or he really didn't even know any of the main tournament games at EVO. But after we were done with the broadcast, he actually spent more time than me in the venue hall and at the Finals Day Arena, watching all the games, watching all the tournaments. And after EVO, he actually went home and bought Tekken and bought Dragon Ball FighterZ and even bought a fight stick. And right now he's grinding out, playing online in Tekken, trying to get better at the game. So the reason why I bring that up is it just shows you how addictive the FGC can be. You just need to get people in the door. So what do you think are some ways that you can get the casual MK players into the FGC? And do you think other fighting games should incorporate more single player modes like Mortal Kombat? And finally, what movie had better memes, the Street Fighter movie or the Mortal Kombat movie? Let me know in the comments. So I want to give a special thanks to some MK heads, Crazy Bone and Brian Compton, for giving me some info for this video. Brian actually hosts tournaments in SoCal at Super Arcade and Beyond the Summit Studios. I'll have info about that in the description. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to watch some more of my FGC videos, you can find a link to them around here. And for everyone that subscribes to this video, I'll be doing this in my bathroom mirror for every subscription.